Hey guys, I'm Nina Berenato, and today I'm going to do a little bit of an educational video about the different materials that make up fine jewelry or fashion jewelry. I always get annoyed because I'm always seeing these videos on Instagram and TikTok where I see other designers that are like, this material is better, never wear this material. And usually it's about them kind of promoting their own product or the materials they use. But today I want to kind of tell you a little bit more about what all of those materials are and kind of dispel some of the myths, because to me, it's not really necessarily about the material. It's about how it's made, where it's made, and how it's actually created in the process with which it's created. Okay, first I want to talk about the creme de la creme, which is solid gold. Obviously, solid gold is the finest of the fine jewelry, and it will go through different carat weights. So anywhere between 10K all the way up to 24K. The larger the number, the larger the carat, the more actual gold is in the product. So anything that you get that is solid gold, that's going to be your really high-end stuff. And that is going to be the type of gold that never tarnishes. It's going to be your true heirloom jewelry, your engagement rings, your fine jewelry chains, things like that. If you're purchasing a large statement ring, most of the time it is not going to be solid gold. So these are going to be much more of those fine, smaller jewelry bands. And of course, if you can buy real solid gold, if you're blessed enough to be able to afford real solid gold, do it, because it's the most beautiful material that we have out there. One of the biggest negatives though about solid gold is that it is really malleable. It's extremely soft. Since it hasn't gone through some of the processes that fashion jewelry or other plated fine jewelry would go through, it actually has much more softness, because when we work through jewelry through some of these other processes, it gets through a process called work hardening. So every time it's hit or it goes through a chemical process, it actually gets a little bit more hard physically. So that's the only drawback between solid gold, is that it can sometimes get dented, it can get misshapen and things like that a lot more easily than some of the fashion jewelry options that you may see out there. Okay, let's get into gold plated. A lot of people are out there giving gold plated jewelry a bad name, but really it's all about the thickness that the plating is put on. It's also about the material underneath. So there's two big categories of gold plated jewelry. There's what would be traditional gold plated, which has a base of brass or bronze. That's what I usually use. And then you have what's called Vermeil, which has a base of sterling silver. There's a lot of people out there being like, oh, Vermeil is another category of like slightly higher end jewelry. That's not necessarily the case. Most of the jewelry that you get from overseas is Vermeil. It has a sterling silver base, but it has a very, very thin coat of gold plating on top of it. So what you really want to know is how thick is the gold plating. The base does not matter. The choice between brass or sterling silver, it's really going to be a material choice based on the manufacturer, what they have access to. It's not because one material is necessarily better than the other. Brass or bronze is typically a little bit harder, a little sturdier, whereas sterling silver is going to be a little bit softer. What matters in gold plating is the thickness that the gold plating is put on. And it also matters whether or not it's hypoallergenic. So most gold plating, the actual standard for gold plating, is to put a layer of nickel underneath the gold plating. We all know nickel is the #1 allergen. Most of us that have sensitive ears get rashes on our skin. It's all because of nickel. So it has nothing to do with that base metal. So when you are looking for jewelry, you want to ask the thickness of the jewelry that's put on the actual base metal. And we do that in a system of measurement called microns. So something that is called flash plating, that may be put on only a half of a micron. It's a very, very, very thin layer of gold. And that's what you're going to get at most like fast fashion places. Most of those pieces are going to be a sterling silver base or even a stainless steel base. And then it's going to have that layer of nickel and then a layer of flash plating on top. That's going to wear down very, very quickly. Here at my store, we put it on 10 microns thick. So it's put on 10 times thicker than a flash plate. And we also put a protective coat on top of it, and we always stay away from nickel. There's never any nickel in any of our gold plating. So this is really the things that you want to look at when it comes to gold plating. It's all about the thickness. So if you have the opportunity to ask a designer how thick they put the gold plating on, that's really where you want to try and get your information. Last but not least, we're going to talk about gold fill. Gold fill is definitely one of those products that I feel is getting a lot of buzz right now. Everybody wants gold fill because it's this great happy medium between gold plated and solid gold. When you're putting gold plating on, it is the base metal and then a layer of whatever karat gold, 14 karat, 10 karat, 18 karat on top of that. And we're just choosing the thickness of the layer. But with gold fill, we're actually, when we put the layer of gold over the base, it's actually chemically bonding and becoming one new product together. So it's actually a lot thicker. The layer of gold that's put on top of the base is a lot thicker, and it's not really put on top like a coat. It's bonded into that core, and it all becomes one material. So it does last a really long time. It never tarnishes. It's great for being water resistant, but the problem is it has some limitations. So you will only see things like chain, components, fixtures, wire made out of gold fill because they actually cannot cast organic shapes out of gold fill. So there's a big limit to that product. If you do see things like charms or, you know, earrings that have an organic, unique shape, and someone is trying to tell you that those are gold fill, they're not. They are definitely either a base metal or plated or solid gold. But unfortunately, I wish we could. We do not have the technology right now to do those types of organic shapes with gold fill. So gold fill is a really fun material for some nice chains, something that's stackable, anklets, basic rings, basic hoops, anything like that. They're an incredible material for like your everyday basic jewelry that you never want to take off. But again, I just want to reiterate with this that no material is better than another. It's all about your lifestyle and what you're looking for the jewelry. So for me, for those big statement pieces, I always go to gold plated or even brass or sterling silver, depending on the color and the warmth that I want with my outfit. For my everyday pieces, like my permanent bracelets or my little studs, I'll always go to gold fill because I think it's just a great, beautiful material that is affordable and is also something that's super durable and you never have to take off. Now, when I'm shopping for something special and I want this to be something I hold on to forever, I'm making a big investment, you know, for a ring that is going to be on my finger for a very special moment, like an engagement, or I want to do diamonds, or I want to do some cool stones. That's when I'm going to go to find solid jewelry, either sterling silver, platinum, or solid gold. For me, with my skin tone, I actually like some of the cooler tones of gold. So I'll go to a 10K, a 12K, a 14K. But definitely I like to look into the color palettes, like what you look into for your makeup, to kind of see the yellow color that they put into you, I always think back to the old makeup tutorials with the spring, summer, fall, winter. The yellows that they give you will be your closest match to the carat weight of the jewelry that's going to match your skin the best if you're looking for a real solid gold or gold plated option. So that's a little bit about the different fashion and fine jewelry materials that are out there. I hope this helps. As always, leave your comments below. If I have an answer, I'd be happy to answer it for you in the comments. And definitely like, subscribe, follow along if you like these videos so I can continue to make them for you. Thanks.